Hey there, friends on LinkedIn and YouTube. Happy Friday Eve. I am, as you know, waiting for, there we go, StreamYard to connect into my free Facebook group. I do see that now. Awesome sauce. I'm going to make sure that the comments are clear. One sec. Gotta love an awkward pause. All right, I think we are good to go. Happy Friday Eve day to everybody. You guys know every week I come to you live on Thursday at 11:30, and I'm live on LinkedIn, on YouTube, and my free Facebook group. Wherever you're coming in from, we are so glad you're here. YouTubers, smash the subscribe button, and LinkedIners, hit that bell so you never miss one of my live trainings. I am so excited about today because there are some mistakes we are making in our online businesses when it comes to email. And listen, I'm looking at myself here. I'm looking in the mirror at myself on this because Amy will out me if I don't. But my friend and guest expert, Amy Kufal, is here today to save us from ourselves. She saved me from myself because she's going to teach us how our emails to our list could end up making us more money if we're doing it the right way. But first, just in case this is the first time you've ever joined me, I am Tracy Beavers. I'm a business and sales coach in Little Rock, Arkansas. I have over 20 years of experience in marketing, sales, and business growth. And about 7 years ago, you guys know my story, you've heard it a million times, I hatched a plan to fully exit corporate, and I have not looked back. I teach all organic list growth and visibility strategies that get you more visible online so your audience can see you, hear you, and hire you. All of that visibility leading directly to your email list and more leads so you can make that consistent monthly income that you really, really want. And the strategies that I teach for list growth and visibility are fresh. They are not your mother's list growth strategies. And we get your list growth happening automatically every day in the background of your business. And if you're thinking about hiring a coach to guide you, because here we are, middle of August, look back at your year. Are you where you want to be income-wise? Are you where you want to be with your list growth? If you feel like you are stuck and you need somebody to look at your business, DM me and let's get together and talk about it. All right, pop your questions and comments into the chat for us as we go along. We are happy to answer those at the end. And if you're watching on replay and you have a question or something for Amy, just go ahead and put it in there and I will make sure we get it answered for you. I want to introduce my friend, Amy Kufal. You guys are going to love her as much as I do. She is an email marketing specialist, and I don't say that word lightly. She is a specialist, y'all. She is dedicated to helping coaches like me, course creators like me, like you, build simple, I love simple, flexible, life first online businesses. How good does that sound? That's what we all want, is a life first online business, because we built these businesses to be able to have a life first. And she does that with email as the solid foundation, the backbone of all of it. And after building her own online business the hard way and in the thick of burnout, she noticed that most of us in the online space, the successful people, had achieved what she dreamed of achieving, and they were talking about nurturing and growing an email list. And she spent the next 2 years, you guys, learning everything she could get her hands on about email, simplified her business structure so she wasn't burned out anymore. She ended up increasing her income and decreasing her workload. Okay, can we all just say we want some of that? And she feels like she has hacked the system, and so she's here to help us do the same thing. Amy, I'm so glad to have you here. We always ask every guest for a fun fact. What's yours?
That's a good one. And I thank you so much, first of all, for that lovely introduction. I would say my fun facts, a little bit about me. I'm email marketing. I geek out on email marketing more than is really appropriate, I think.
I love it.
Passion of mine. And I would say the fun fact is very recently I started indoor rock climbing. So I've always been a fan of fitness. I've always been in the gym, but coming up on 40 years old, I decided, why not? Now's the perfect time to learn how to rock climb.
I love that. So how is it's an indoor facility?
Yes. Yeah. So I visit a bunch of different facilities, myself and my daughter. I have a 13-year-old. And it's very cool. There's all different, beginner routes. There's more advanced routes. If anyone listening in is familiar with indoor rock climbing, the cool experience I have felt is that when you're climbing these massive 40-foot walls,
Oh my gosh.
else. It's amazing. I love it. I know it's not everyone's cup of tea, but I love it. But the cool thing is, as I'm climbing the 40-foot wall,
Yeah.
potentially falling at any given point, I'm being belayed. So that rope, the other end of the rope, is
Right.
attached to my daughter. So she's the one that's tending the rope, right?
Wow.
And if she lets go, if she looks away, guess who's falling, right? So it's great. So we get to
Wow.
belay each other, which has been a really cool like bonding experience.
Yeah.
When literally your life is in your child's hands, and I'm like, oh, I hope you like me today. She's a teenager
Exactly.
too, so it's like, oh, like don't tick them off before you go.
Exactly.
Um,
I was going to say, you better be nice to her on those days.
I know, right? At least like leave a good memory before I start
Right.
to cry. But yeah, it's been really fun. It's been a way for us to move our bodies. It's been a way for us to connect. A lot of times, the beautiful thing about running our own businesses is that
Mhm.
our rock climbing gym, the closest one's about 45 minutes away. So it's not super
Okay.
close. It is a bit of a commitment, but she homeschools. I work from home. So we oftentimes bring all of our stuff, our laptops, our
Nice.
go park there, climb for a little bit, work for a little bit, climb for a little bit, and it ends up becoming just a really cool day.
I love that so much. Is it as hard as it looks?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't I don't think physically it's as hard as it looks because you can gradually go up. What
Yeah.
I did find though that really surprised me is I come from a fitness background. So I worked as a personal trainer for years.
Wow.
I feel I had a 10-year, brick and mortar personal training studio.
Mhm.
So I came into this different world of fitness with a solid fitness background, and I still felt really, really intimidated
Oh, wow.
because they're speaking, there's different language when you enter into and it was in that part of it, I surprisingly was the most intimidating part. But
Oh,
once
wow.
you're in, you get used to it. You learn the lingo, you know
Yeah.
what you're doing. And
Yeah. Oh, I think that's so cool, Amy. Thanks for sharing that with us. That's really neat. All right, let's get into the conversation. I know Terry Peace is here with us. I just checked the Facebook group. We've probably got some other people that maybe haven't commented yet. She's excited to be here because she really needs this conversation. So let's get into this because I think it's going to help everybody, even those that come to us on replay. All right, but first, okay, so I want to back up a little bit. Could you tell everybody a little bit more about you, like your backstory, how you got to being like what caused you? Did you have a corporate background like I did? How did you end up being on the roller coaster of entrepreneurship?
Don't we all come with the most interesting stories of
Yes.
how we land here? And
Yes.
I would say mine's pretty similar. So I went to school, undergrad as well as graduate school for education, actually.
Mhm.
So I started out my career as a high school teacher. I taught
Mhm.
middle and high school for a number of years. I liked that. I think at heart, I'm a teacher, so that
Mhm.
worked really well.
Yeah.
I also like the summer vacation. If we're going to be 100% honest, like you can just turn off for 2 months and still get paid. That was
Yeah.
lovely.
Yeah.
But it wasn't a perfect match.
Okay.
A number of reasons I felt like, I love learning, I love teaching. I struggled with the coercion piece, to be quite honest,
Yeah.
and having kids in my classroom that simple examples, I would have a kid, I'm teaching the curriculum that
Mhm.
I'm mandated to teach, right?
Right.
I don't have a choice. A lot of people think that teachers choose. We do not. So I was teaching what I was mandated to teach, and I had kids in class that were reading these like amazing books that really following their own interest. And the number of times I would have to say, no, close that thing that I know that you're really interested in, that I know that you're probably going to have a career in, to learn this thing that you actually don't care about right now.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of moments like that, that it just felt like a personality mismatch a bit.
Yeah. Yeah. That would be tough.
Yeah. So I was like, you know what? I've always had an entrepreneurial spirit. I've always loved fitness. I actually taught health and phys ed. So,
Uh-huh.
it was an easy slide into starting my own fitness business. Did that, like I said, for about 10 years. I owned a brick and mortar studio, really,
Wow.
really good, loved it, thought that was going to be what it was forever.
Yeah. Yeah.
But about a decade in, I was finding what was happening. And if we have any listeners right now who have kids, young kids, teenage kids, is that the problem with that is that everything in the personal training space that I was doing was
Mhm.
out of the house, number one, and it was one-to-one. So
Mhm.
if my child ever got sick, if I ever got sick, I'm now losing income.
Mhm.
So that was tough. So I'm like, okay, so you have to be on all the time. If you're exhausted, you're still on. If people are sick, you're still on.
Yep.
And so now you're balancing the kid that might get sick, you might get sick, maybe,
Yeah.
and also clients taking vacations.
Yeah.
So all of these things made it so that the income was not what I needed to be. The
Right.
flexibility, my freedom was not what I needed to be.
Yeah.
So at that point, I said, okay, I love this. I think I'm always going to have a big passion for fitness. It's been kind of a through line throughout my life.
Yeah.
But how can I earn an income in a way that actually supports the other aspects of my life and balances them out a bit? So brought it online, did a little bit of fitness stuff online, personal training. A lot of people know they want in person, they want one-to-one. Can you do
Mhm.
it online? Yes. But there's still, I think it's something that's built for in person and
Uh-huh.
we can do online. Um, so during that point of struggle, that point of, okay, well, where do you go from here? I ended up having a lot of people reaching out to me who had seen my business journey over the last decade plus and
Yeah.
asked me questions about, well, how did you start your own business? Well, how do you market your own business?
Ah.
Well, how are you getting new, well, how, and I was jumping on all these Zoom calls, just explaining
Mhm.
these things to friends and friends of friends, trying to be helpful, all the while being like, how can I set up a business online? Doing the literal thing that like was going to give me the freedom that I wanted. And I'm like, it was kind of like a light bulb moment and saying, okay,
Yeah.
let me slowly start to pivot away from the content that I'm teaching being the fitness portion.
Right.
Because the thing is what a lot of, and it's funny, a lot of people like, it's always our moms. It's always our moms. Love them. It's always the moms. But she's like, but how are you going to teach marketing if you used to just teach push-ups? And
I
I was
love
like,
it.
did you notice that the entire 10 years I was teaching push-ups, I was also running my own business. So I had to do
Exactly.
that part too. Right.
Right.
So
That's
it was
so
really,
funny.
I know they're gems, they're moms. But it really was just a matter of saying, okay, I'm doing these two things. I've been growing my business for 10 years. I've been
Mhm.
teaching fitness for 10 years. Let me just move one to the front now of what it is that I have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that. I love that you saw a need, you recognized and were brave enough to say to yourself, "Okay, I've built this business. My time freedom is not what I need it to be. My income is all roller coastery." And instead of just white knuckling it and saying, "Okay, I'll just do this for the next 20 years, then I can retire," like a lot of us do, either with a business we built or with a corporate job, you were brave enough to sit back and go, "This is not working. This is not what I want." And you took the time to actually ask yourself, "What do you want this to look like?" And then you had the faith and the courage to go for it. I think that's amazing. And you had a lot of people asking you how to do this. That's always a sign. That's kind of a sign that I had. Friends of mine were like, "Aren't people asking you all the time how you're so successful in sales and how you're gaining market share and doing all this other stuff?" And I'm like, "Huh, yeah, they are." So sometimes we can't see our own stuff for immediately. But all right, let's dive into the email marketing part. You have told me, and confession, y'all, confession, because I'm all about honesty. I avoided having a welcome sequence for people joining my email list for years, years. And finally started listening to people smarter than me about 6 to 8 months ago. And I was like, you know what, Tracy Beavers, I think you need to put your big girl pants on and talk to an expert. I wanted to know why it was so important. What's the big deal about it? Why do I need it? And so I met Amy. We had a great conversation. Amy feels like the first 3 emails that your subscribers get are the ones that matter most. So Amy, would you share with everybody what's that's about and why do you feel that way and why should that be important to us?
Yeah. So, and I also want to touch upon, there's something that you said that I think I really want to just highlight really quick. Because
Mhm.
you said for a while that you avoided putting a welcome sequence in place altogether.
Yep.
You were not the first nor the last person I have heard say that. There are a number of coaches and course creators that come to me saying that they've been building their email list, but they haven't put a welcome sequence in place.
Yep.
What I would say to that is really what we want to think about is that would be the equivalent of if you have this big house party, right? So you think about what's
Mhm.
going on in your email world as this house party. You have this brand new guest that comes in, right? So they come up to your door, you open the door, and then you say nothing to them.
Uh-huh.
You don't welcome them. They've never been to your house. You don't welcome
Right.
them, nothing. You send them in, and now they're in the midst of this conversation that's already going on, right? Because they're getting your live broadcast emails. There's no context. They don't know where to turn. It feels overwhelming for our subscribers. So really what that welcome sequence does is it lets them know, hey, you're in the right place. Here's what you can expect. It's your essential tour around the party,
Yeah.
letting them just go on their own. So super essential. If anyone listening and does not have their welcome sequence in place yet, I want to stress the importance of this, and also share that it doesn't have to be complicated. It could be one email. It could be 3 emails. Really, whatever it takes to make these people feel seen, feel welcome, understand what value they're going to get from being on your email list. And so, like Tracy said, the first 3 emails, I tend to say, if you're going to do a welcome sequence, a good number, you could do 1, you could do 7. If you hover around 3, you're going to be in a good spot, right? And it is these first 3 emails that are the most important emails that you're going to send. And because I love a good analogy, right? We're going to move away from the house party for a second, and we're going to go on some dates.
Yeah.
If anyone here has ever gone on dates in your life, right? Maybe you dated your spouse, maybe you're currently dating. Think about it this way. If we consider our emails, these first 3 emails, every email that we're going to send, essentially a date that we're having with our subscribers, we need to think about this. If you were set up on a blind date and you went on this first date and it was underwhelming, if they were just talking about themselves the whole time, if it was just like any of these cringy things that we can think of, right? We've been there. But if we think about our welcome sequence that way, I think we're going to write it a little bit differently.
Okay.
So if we say, and again, too, if we think about, if I were to go on one subpar date with someone, maybe, right? Any of us, maybe we could say, you know what? I have no investment with this person.
Right.
Wasn't that good? I'm not really going to stick around.
Right.
Some people might say it wasn't that great, but let me give them a second or a third date. Maybe they were nervous. Maybe this wasn't their best impression. I don't know. Probably, though, none of us are going to go on 5, 6, 7, 10, 20 dates with someone. If it's boring, if they're arrogant, all of these things. So really, we have essentially 3 chances to nail it. 4 people are mostly going to make their decision about whether they're going to keep opening our emails, whether they're going to unsubscribe, whether they're going to delete without unsubscribing, which is way worse than if they just unsubscribe to begin with. But we want to try to avoid all of those things happening by really nailing these first 3 emails.
Yeah. I love analogies. My audience will tell you that I'm like the analogy queen. And it's so helpful to have an analogy for me as a visual learner. And what you just shared is exactly what I teach with regard to Facebook groups, because people want to join our free Facebook groups. And the mistake I see is my clients and students don't properly welcome them in with a welcome DM. Like you're saying, in their inbox, we've got to welcome them in, make them feel seen, heard. Hey, here's the appetizers. Hey, here's the bar. Hey, everybody's playing a game out back if you want to join in there. And we have to do the same thing when people join our free Facebook group. Otherwise, like you're saying, it's like they've walked into a party. I've not talked to them, and I'm just expecting them to fumble their way around the free group. And so we have to DM them and go, hey, I'm so excited you're here. Did you know you can do this? And did you know you can do that? And what can I help you with? That is amazing. I love that. And I'm so glad to know also that I'm not alone in being a ding dong when it comes to setting up the welcome sequence. Tell me, so all this experience you have, there's got to be, first of all, I was going to ask you, what are the biggest mistakes that you see us making in those first emails? And I think one of the biggest mistakes is not setting it up at all. But then in those first emails, what are some things that we're missing the mark on?
Yeah, so that's a great question. So you're right. Number 1 is just not having it. The second thing, I want us to think about that date scenario again, is that, and one of the ways that I like to think about these first 3 emails is, number 1 mistake that I see when I'm reviewing coaches or course creators' emails that they have in place without any guidance, maybe they just wrote it on their own. Number 1 thing that I see, biggest red flag, like, oh, we need to rework this, is they're very, I'm going to say this nicely, they're very boring, right? Super boring. So,
we mean that with all the love in the world. Y'all are boring.
The vanilla, we could say vanilla. Maybe that would be a nicer way to say it. The vanilla, right? So what we want to do is, this is your chance to make your first impression. We think about, people get on average, like, depending on, if they're, how many lists they've signed up with, 50, 100 emails per day. You need to stand out. Okay. If we're super boring, you're going to blend into all of the other emails. One hack that I like to use for this is, we are all multifaceted people. Right? If you think about us, What we want to think about though is if anyone's ever gone and had their caricature drawn,
Yeah.
okay, so that you're sitting in front of the artist is probably going to look at you and pick one feature. Maybe your eyes are really pretty. Maybe you have gorgeous hair. They're going to exaggerate that feature for your caricature. What that's going to do is that's going to make that picture really memorable. So writing, definitely your first 3 emails, but really use this throughout the rest of your emails. Think about yourself. What is some part of you that's unique, that's different, that you could actually just turn up the volume on a little bit and become not a fake version of yourself, right? We want to be authentic. We want to be real. But how can we be more memorable by really highlighting something? So something, for example, for me that I'm super passionate about, I can't even help it. I love simplicity. I love systems. So I make sure in my initial emails, I really highlight, there are maybe other email marketing coaches. There are other coaches for this. I'm going to be the most simple. I am going to be the most. That is what I'm all about, right? Yeah. You could highlight where you're from. If you're from, like I know Tracy, we talked about like we incorporate a little Southern, Southern charm into your emails.
A little Southern sass.
Right, because it makes it memorable. So number one biggest mistake, making it just blend into everything else. Another one that I would see is that in an effort to show our credibility, I have seen some coaches take it, what I would say is a little too far, because we want to think about these emails are not for us. They're for the people that are on our list.
Okay.
In thinking about that date situation, if I were to go on a lovely little date and the gentleman who joined me at the dinner table really was like, let me make a good impression. I'm going to tell her how amazing I am. And I've accomplished all these things. And like, I was like this star athlete in college and blah, 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 blah. He might be thinking, wow, I'm making a great impression because I'm giving her my whole highlight reel of like all this. Look at how lucky she is to be dating right now.
Right.
What it comes across as, of course, we all know is, well, that person's really all about them.
Right.
As much as we want to weave in credibility and authority, because because honestly, there's a lot of people on the internet, probably everyone here knows, that are that version of like, let me teach you how to make $100,000 business in the next 30 seconds.
Yes.
We have that we're fighting against. So I think anytime we can highlight, actually, I've went to school for this. Actually, like myself, I've spent 2 years studying under the best copywriters out there. We want to put that in to show that we know our stuff.
Yes.
We want to do it in a way that's subtle enough that it doesn't feel like
it's all about us.
Yeah.
And we're not just coming at them. Because nobody likes to sit in front of somebody that just talks about themselves all the time. That's no way. I'm not going on another date with that person. That would be an unsubscribe situation. I would be like sitting across from that person going, I'm unsubscribing. Let me go get my keys.
Wouldn't it be so nice though, that on actual literal dates, if we could just click unsubscribe mid-date, done.
I'm unsubscribing. Get up and walk out, go to the valet, get our car and go home. I love it. No, that is so important. So these emails they're about us a little bit, but they're more about, so I love you're saying, get a gentle balance of sharing your credibility, but also your personality, and also making it about them and and like what they're looking for, right? Am I getting that right?
Yeah, because the way I like to think about it too is, especially in the coach and course creator space, anytime we're writing, not we as coach or course creators, but anytime people in the world are writing, we typically write along a spectrum. So one end of the spectrum, if you think about that, is entertainment. Other parts, education. So if I were writing a fiction novel, for example, that's going to be really far on the side of like entertainment, right? If I'm writing a textbook, that's going to be on education. So we need to think as coaches and course creators, where on that spectrum do we fall? My personal opinion, my personal advice is we don't want to obviously sound like a textbook, but we want to be a little bit more on that side of education versus entertainment. Like, yes, incorporate stories. But the reason why I say that is that people are getting on our list as coaches and course creators, probably not just because they want to hear a funny story or like hear what's going on in their life. Like they might care if we weave it in, but they're getting on our list because they have either a goal that they want to achieve or a problem that they want to solve. Really that's more on the education side. So can we maybe go 75% of the way over to education and then use other things, of course, to make it entertaining, to make it a little humorous, but always with our main focus being, how can I deliver value? How can I take them out of their pain point? How can I get them towards their goal for free, like at least start while they're on our list to show that we're really giving value, and then offer our coaching, our courses as that next step.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I love it. That explanation, that you broke that down perfectly. Okay. So I know we're getting close on time. And my audience knows I will die on the hill of you have to build an email list if you want to have a successful business. You and I share that it is the foundation, the backbone, the only way you're going to sustain. Could you explain to my audience why you feel that way too? Why do you also believe that having that email list is so, so important?
Yeah. So one of the things, of course, is we're seeing social media going wacky lately.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
As in my most recent stat check, about 9% of our people on Instagram, which is the main platform when I'm using. So I don't use social media much, to be quite honest, but when I do, it's mostly Instagram. That's about 9% of our audience seeing any piece of content that we're creating.
Right.
Is when we're doing email right, when we have, all of the text set up correctly, so our deliverability is good, we're letting the inbox, when we're writing emails that people actually want to read and buy from, all of that going well, we can see 50-60% open rate, depending on our list size, depending on, a couple different factors, but say that we go 50%, right? 50% open rate. So then it comes down to the decision if I'm going to spend an hour, a half an hour creating a reel or writing an email.
Yeah.
9% people seeing it or 50% people seeing it. It's just a way better use of any of our time to be doing something that's going to be that direct line of communication with the people that have raised their hand and said, I actually want to hear from you. And that's a big distinction too, that I think a lot of people don't think about is it's more of a show of actually I'm interested when someone subscribes to your email list versus when they follow you on social media. So these people have raised their hand and said, please give me what you got, email me. They want it. Okay. So I think that's a main part of it. The other big part that's really, really important to me is that when we build our business with email as the solid backbone to our business, it allows us to make a lot of our business asynchronous. And like I talked about at the top of this call, one of the struggles that I had when I was in that personal training in the fitness space is that whenever someone goes, it was a disruption in the business. Okay.
Yeah, it was.
So now, complete 180 over here. I've set my own business up in a way that it's pretty much entirely asynchronous with email as that salt. I can write the email. I can send the lesson at a time that works really, really well for me.
Yeah.
My people, my clients, my students can receive it and move through it at a time that works for them.
Yeah.
It really is a beautiful balance.
I love that. That is amazing. I love it. And I love that we share that foundational importance. And that's so interesting what you said about, I love the comparison you just made. You're like, you can post on social media and I've even heard it's 5% of your audience actually sees your stuff on social media versus going into their inbox and getting that 50% open rate. And speaking of open rates, I want to know your opinion because there's an opinion for everything in the online space. What is a goal we should have for our open rates? What's a good open rate based on our list size?
I would say if you're hitting 35% or more, you're doing a really, really good job.
Perfect. Yeah. I love it. I love that. All right. Let me grab the link. Amy, do you want to tell them about the freebie that you have for them? The checklist you've got?
Yeah. So we have talked about for the last half hour, how important having a welcome sequence is and how important writing that welcome sequence in a really strong way is. If we want to make sure that our people don't unsubscribe, if we want to make sure that our people don't do even worse, just never open our emails. So what I did and what you have free to grab if you'd like is a welcome sequence checklist. So what this checklist is it's 13 do's that you should absolutely be doing within the first 3 emails and one major don't that I would definitely not recommend doing if you want to succeed with your welcome sequence. So it's a do's and don'ts checklist and you will have the link to that as well. Is that right?
Yes, I popped the link to it in the free Facebook group. Also, if you're listening to us on the podcast, I have it in the show notes. And if you're coming to me on YouTube, it's also in the show notes. And LinkedIn, I will be popping that link in as soon as we're finished live. So don't worry, it'll be there for you guys as well. I love that. That is so valuable. So it's 12 do's and 1 big don't.
13, lucky 13. That's a lucky number.
Well, it's Taylor Swift's favorite number, and she's pretty lucky. So there we go. There we have it. I just learned that today because I was watching the Today Show and they were talking about her. So the random things you learn. All right, my friends, here's what I want you to do next. If you're in my free Facebook group, I'm going to pop my link into the chat in my free group. I am having, some of you know, I'm having a free networking event once a month. The first Friday of every month, 10:30 to 11:30 Central. The first one's going to be September 5th. It is open to only members of my free Facebook group. So that's why you need to be in the group. Group members, I just popped that link in to get registered into the chat. Just go ahead and register. You'll get the Zoom registration that you can then add to your calendar. So you always have the link to join us. And then if you're on YouTube, LinkedIn, or coming to me from the podcast, go look for my group. I'll make sure that the link is in the notes for you guys. It's called Be a Confident Entrepreneur. Come in, join us, and then you can join the free networking. It's going to be so much fun. It's going to be high energy. I'm going to be doing giveaways. I'm going to be personally giving away one 30-minute one-to-one to a lucky winner that is super engaged in the event. And then my Business Visibility Made Easy alums are contributing things too. So it's really, really exciting. I'm so excited for it. Amy, is there anything else you want to share before we let everybody go?
That's it. I mean, yeah, just get cranking. And again, don't overcomplicate it, right? You're going to take the checklist that I gave you. Something's better than nothing. I will say that. So don't overstress it. Go through the checklist. And if there's any questions, I am always just an email away. Shoot me an email. I will get back to you within 24 hours and we'll get your welcome sequence sorted out.
I love that. And your social media platform that you love is Instagram. Is that right? What's your handle over on Instagram in case they want to follow you?
Yeah, it's at AMYKUPH at Amy Koof.
Love it. Amy Koof. I love it.
All
right, my friends.
More simple than the full last name, isn't it? Right.
Yeah. No, I think it's a great last name. I had no problems of spelling it or pronouncing it. So I think it's pretty good. All right. So my friends, I want you to be here live with me every Thursday at 11:30 Central. Put it on your calendar, set a phone alarm. I'm going to be here live next week by myself. Cannot remember the topic off the top of my head. I wrote it a few days ago and I've slept since then, but I know it's going to be super fun because you never know what's going to come out of my mouth. And remember, I say this every single week. It is so important for you to know, don't go it alone. Being an entrepreneur is freaking hard. Amy and I have talked about that today, about the roller coaster of the time and building the things and the roller coaster of the income. And do you do a welcome sequence or do you leave it alone like I did? Or do you, what do you do? What's best practice? And this is where you need to get into a community of support because I want you to know you're not alone. This is hard. It takes a lot more grit and grind and effort than people talk about. But you're not alone feeling the way you're feeling. It doesn't matter if you're day one, hour one, or you're years in like Amy and I are, and you've had massive success. We still have days where it feels like that. So get into a community of support. My free Facebook group is a great place to get that support. Be a Confident Entrepreneur. It's on my Facebook personal profile. You can find it there or just search for it in groups. And I want you to have a great balance of the week and weekend. And I want to thank Amy. Thank you so much for coming in here and being with us today. This has been great.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
You are so welcome. And y'all remember, when one of us rises, we all rise. So that is why we've got to keep cheering each other on. And I will see you guys next week.